All right, guys, so thanks for joining me today. I'm going to stall for just a minute and explain what's happening today, and then I'm going to get into the happening part. So, the first thing I wanted to say is that right now I'm working on some of the sections of the book, and I'm working on photography for that, for the kind of middle section of this book. And I thought it would be a good idea just to kind of leave the camera rolling and you could see the progression because it'll be fairly fast paced as I progress through this carving and capturing photos of the process, and you'll get to see the sort of transformation of this man who will turn into a few different iterations of a man. So he'll start out as a kind of younger man, maybe in his 30s or so, and then he'll transition into an older man, and he'll have a more subtle, soft kind of, or a more, sorry, the opposite, fisher, deep, wrinkled kind of look to him. You'll also get to see some of the different aspects of the nose. I'm going to explore a quailing nose, which is a hook nose. I'm going to explore a straight nose and an upturned nose. And we're going to get all that done in this demonstration. That's the goal. And you guys are here to enjoy. And I appreciate you guys viewing per usual. But what this is going to be, again, you're going to see me going back and forth between the carving, every once in a while pulling back, getting to my nice big fancy camera rig set up here, which I'm very grateful to have, and then I'll be coming back to the carving. So it's not the usual live stream. Again, this is a sneak peek into a large section of the book being created in real time. So if you get the book, it'll be kind of fun that you witnessed in real time some of the images that were made. I'm not going to be doing this for really very many sections in the book. I just thought, this particular project is a good opportunity or a good example of what can be done, and you'll see it in real time. So let's get going. Okay, you can see here. Whoa. I'm gonna try to find the proper camera angle here so that folks can see. S. Chapman says, "How you doing today?" I'm good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Freaking in the Rockies says, "Sup, brother? Let's go." All right, let's do it. Appreciate you guys watching today. And again, I'm going to try to make this so that you can see it clearly behind this giant, not giant, I guess, but pretty sizable carving setup here. So, and of course, you can hear the beautiful sounds of the lawn landscaping going on. So, be that what it is. I'm going to give you a profile here. I'm going to have to move the camera around, and you'll be in the way here and there, and I'll be in the way rather. So you'll get to see that. But if you're just joining, I don't want to re-explain it, but just briefly, this is a project for the book that I'm going to be kind of tearing through, and I just thought, might as well show you guys so you can get a taste for the progress of some of the bits and pieces of the book. So I do have a show coming up. I'm setting up for it in 2 days, and I do have a fair amount of carving to do. But the reality is, I can't just stop working on the book because the book is due soon. So I'm going to focus on both of those things. During the day, morning and day, I'm going to work on the book, and then in the evenings, I'm going to be focusing on finishing up the carvings that need to be finished up for the show. So it's a busy season of life right now. I'm very blessed to have this many kind of irons in the fire to have the opportunities to do both of these, or all three of these events, these 2 shows in this book. But I've got to keep myself accountable, and you guys are just keeping me from, taking too many coffee breaks, right? I don't want to take a coffee break while I'm on live, so you're doing me a favor too. So I'll try and come by here and check on the comments every once in a while. So if you guys have any questions or have any suggestions, maybe I'm in the way too much, you won't be annoying me to give me feedback. In fact, I'll appreciate it. So, all right. So this first section that I'm working on now is the rough end section of the book. So what I'm really trying to communicate is that you can use generalized shapes, specifically circles, okay, to help you to interpret what you're looking at when you're looking at a face. And since we're here, I'll show you what that means. When I'm looking at a portrait of a person, right? Just a picture of a person, I can observe a few things right off the bat, and I can interpret a few things right off the bat and simplify them. And I'm going to show you what those things are. So the first one is the sort of circular shapes that show up around the eyes, right? So here's the first one. You know, it looks like rings around his eyes. It looks like he's got glasses. Okay, so this is you know deceivingly important. This is really important. So what we're doing is we're actually banding around the orbicularis oculi, the muscle that bands around the eye. It's responsible for closing and opening the eyes. It's a very important muscular structure, and so we won't get into that now. But the point is, if we can just kind of draw some circles over the opening of the eye. So if we were to go into the skull, it would look something like this, the opening, maybe a little smaller, the eye socket, if you will. The next thing I'd like to look at is the circle that is the nose. Okay, and that's the ball of the nose. Now, I've talked to surgeons about this before. I've yet to hear someone disagree with this. So if you're a surgeon listening to this, tell me. But from what I understand, the ball of the nose, this tip part right here, this roundish part that sits at the front of the face, is called, in anatomical terms, the ball of the nose. So there's no Latin term for it or some other type of term. It's just, they just call it the ball of the nose. And I'm sure there are some substructures there that have specific names. But we're making circles here, guys. And this is, you'll understand what I'm doing in just a moment here. Okay, and here's another circle. All right? All right. This makes up the nose. Let's find a circle in this area here. I call this the barrel of the mouth. Okay, it's kind of an oval. These are actually, some of these are more ovals than they are circles, but you get the picture, right? I can turn them into circles, but that's beside the point. Here's another one at the chin. Okay? All right, now, I'm not just drawing on this thing for the sake of drawing on this thing, just to malign the face of young Robert De Niro. What I'm doing here is I'm showing you that now that we have these circles drawn, we can see that there is a very simplified version, a very easily transferable version of what we're seeing here. And that's important because when we go to take the picture of Robert De Niro and apply it to our carving, there's too many details to transcribe. There's too much going on. There's too many segments and wrinkles and shapes to keep track of at once. So what this does is it helps you to simplify and interpret what you're looking at. So I can now take these circles, right, and notice the general distance. Okay, well, these circles in this case are about 1/2 inch apart. And then this circle right here, is about 3/4 of an inch apart from these two. And then the circles that lie on either side of it are touching and right to the center side, left and right of this center circle. Okay, and then the circle beneath that actually touches this ball of the nose, the center ball. And then I also noticed that the chin is a circle touching or overlapping that mound of the mouth or barrel of the mouth, right? And so what this is doing, this is helping me to see in simple terms what it is I'm looking at. And here's the best one. Save the best for last, right? The overall shape of the head, right? We've got a circle, and if I were to draw another circle here, 2 circles, we've got the overall shape of the skull. And excuse my messy drawing. I'm obviously not skilled as a 2-dimensional artist. I'm a sculptor, right? Not a drawer. But notice something about this. When I draw 2 circles overlapping, this center part here, let's go back to pen, where this bottom circle ends and intersects into this almost Venn diagram looking thing, that's where the eyes are, right? The center line of the eyes. We have the bottom of the chin, top of the head, right? We're not talking about the hair, we're talking about the skull, so it's going to be down here. We're giving ourselves a basic framework for the realistic face, and we're doing it in simple terms that we can apply to our carving. Now, you kind of already missed how I applied the concepts to this current carving that's happening over here, but I just wanted to illustrate that point so you can figure out a simple enough way to apply a drawing to your wood piece. Now I'm not going for a direct portrait here. I'm not going for an exact replica of the you know, of the piece here, the portrait. I'm not doing that because I'm not worried about trying to capture a likeness. It would frankly just take way more time than I need to take here on this. And it would be all for naught because I probably couldn't show the photo that I'm using as a reference anyway because it's copywritten and this is for the book. So the point is, you know, I'm going to use elements. I've already kind of come over here and applied those elements. A circle here, a circle here. Let me see if I can get a better angle for you guys. Major shapes, including the mouth mound and the chin, right? I've kind of applied those shapes to the face, and that's helping me to get a basic grid or understanding of what I'm looking at. So it is important. It is important. The circle method is very helpful as a means of interpreting what you're looking at because it just makes things simple. And you know what? The face is actually a lot more simple than most people think. It's not as complicated as people think it is. You know, getting it right can take years, but the actual forms themselves are not all that complex. All right, so I've already kind of transcribed those circles and I've already started to carve or copy them down onto the wood. But I've already started to carve those circles, but notice how this eye mound represents, right? Here's that first pair of circles that we drew. You can only see this one here clearly, but there's two circles happening here. And I actually gouged them out as the eye sockets. And then I came back and I brought the forehead back, right? Once I've done that, I've taken the forehead back. Once I've taken the forehead back, I have started to take the sides of the cheek down and form the nose. So what we're doing here is we're just achieving the basic shapes that we're looking for in the realistic face. Very, very initial basic shapes. And what I'm going to get at here in a moment, I think is probably, you know, the easiest way of interpreting what we're looking for in the early stages of a carving. What I'm doing now is I'm creating what I call tiers or planes, 3 planes that make up the face. All right. And I'm taking pictures all the while again because this is the purpose of this project is not just to make a YouTube video. It's I'm recording this for the book. This is a project for the book, and I just wanted you guys to kind of get a glimpse into what I'll be talking about in the book, so that you can, you know, glean from it what you will. All right, so here's the real key here that I wanted to point out and make sure that everyone is clear on when it comes to the realistic face. And what I'll do is I'll get my camera in position, but while I'm doing that, I'll kind of explain what I'm about to talk about, and then we'll get into getting you an angle that you can see. In fact, I'll probably just point the camera at my camera so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. Here it is. Now, I know it's a little weird to be looking at an image, which is not exactly looking at the thing that we're talking about, but you know, it's a clear enough image to where I think it's fine, right? You can see it clearly enough. Okay, bear with me as I pull focus. Again, remember, this is about the video or the project for the school. This is not about creating a YouTube video. So bear with me as I kind of focus on the parts that I need to focus on. But okay, all right. Okay, so here's what I'm after. Here's what I'm after in these early stages of carving, right? A basic sense of symmetry is important, yes. But what I'm looking for are these planes. Here, let me move this down. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let me point that camera. There we go. Now you can see what I'm talking about, all right? So what I'm looking for here is I try to think of them as almost 3 planes. Let me get that camera going so I can take that picture. Hold on. There it is. Oh, is that going? Okay, there's something. Yep, pretty good. Okay, so what I'm looking for are 3 planes. The first is right here. Let me grab my pencil so I can point at this. There it is. It's the forehead. Notice that because we're down low, we can see that the forehead is angled but slightly. Okay? Now, we're going to point to 2 other things outside of this, but notice their relationship to one another. Next, we have the line of the cheeks. Now, it's probably, hopefully it's clear for you to be able to see what I'm talking about here, but the next angle is the cheek in relationship to this nose right here, right? You can see there's kind of a triangle or a pyramid of sorts here. But the cheeks are what I want you to notice. The cheeks are actually, let me move it. No, that light won't make a difference. Are more angled, slightly, but they're more angled than the forehead. All right, and then beneath that is our third plane. So we're almost done. This is the third plane. The third plane, which I actually need to take in more, I need to take in just a little bit more, is even more angled than the cheek area, right? So we have a succession of angles, really. That's exactly what we're looking at here, is a succession of angles. It starts with the forehead, that's the most flat. It progressively gets more and more angled as we move down to the cheeks, right? Down into here. And then even more angled as we come down into the jaw. So it starts flat, angles down for the cheeks, and then angles down even more for the jawline, because the jawline is the most dramatically angled of all the sections. So when you think about it in terms of these 3 planes, you can kind of interpret the dimensionality from looking at it, underneath. When you get underneath, you can kind of see what you're looking for and get a sense of the depths that you need. What most people miss when they're carving the face is a really good sense of these 3 planes. They end up making things too flat. Sometimes the forehead is way too far out. It's way too flat. The cheeks are also equally as flat, so there's no angle here. This is not pushed back like it is now. And then the jaw is often way too square and not nearly angled enough, coming back in. So you should have the most depth back here, the second most depth here, and then a little bit less depth, but slightly angled as well up at the top. Hopefully that's clear. So this is kind of part of roughing in. All right, and I know I'm pointing at the lens, but I just can't get both cameras in that position right now. All right, any questions or comments? Good morning, Murky Waters. Hey, Janie. Can I ask you what program you're using with the tablet? Oh, I'm just literally using Google. No program. And I'm just using an iPad. So that's it. Morning from Alberta. Hey, Leona. Hey, Peter. Hi from Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. All right. So we got that. We got that general understanding. Let me see if I can get a better angle for the book so that people can really see this illustration and make sure everything is symmetrical. In fact, I want to clean this up just a little bit more, pretty it up for the book. Just kind of getting the symmetry a little bit more tight, getting the left and right sides more like each other. All right. Now there's more to this, and each project in the book will kind of discuss in more detail all these kind of elements that I'm glossing over. But, at this point, I'm gonna take the camera back over here, and hopefully you can even see in more detail what I'm talking about. I want to get rid of the angle there is distracting. Let's get rid of that. Let's see how that looks. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. We're going to be making progress on this piece a little bit more slowly than usual, so you're going to have to hang in there. Hey, Angela from New York. We've got Noah from Louisiana. Hi, Noah again. How are you? Let me see if I can get a better angle. All right. Let's see if that... See, that's a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I can... make this a little bit clearer. I think I can do better. I really think I can do better. That's better. You can really see those angles a little bit more clearly now. Okay, this is why we talk always about mirrors and such. You know, what do we learn from the masters? Well, we've learned that the mirrors are incredibly important because they change your perspective. They show you something from a little bit different of a perspective. They flip the image, and now you can see it with fresh eyes, right? You can trick yourself into seeing it with fresh eyes, and that's super important, right? Because like so many areas of life, you know, when you're confused or confounded, often what you need is somebody to kind of give you an outside perspective, somebody who isn't weighed down by the mire of the trouble that you're dealing with. And when you have a mirror, it changes the image just enough to where it makes it so that you can see it from a new angle, right? So you can see it from almost like someone else's perspective. So that's what I was after. That's what I was after. I'm gonna take a little bit more on this side. But the reason I brought the mirror up is because when I'm using the camera, it's changing the perspective just enough to where I'm seeing things a little bit more clearly than I would, or it's getting an angle that I wouldn't normally crouch to, and so I'm seeing things from a better vantage point than I normally would, or a different vantage point. And that's going to improve my carving. So just stopping and taking a picture of your project and then going back to it, I've noticed has helped students a lot. And some students have come to me and said that they had this idea, and it's a great idea. So, all right. So now we can see these angles a little bit more clearly. Hey, Nebraska's here. Southwest Connecticut is here from Jay. Lucy's from Mississippi. We've got people from all over the place joining in. I appreciate it. All right. Try that. Get my focus. Again, I don't really want to. I hesitate. I don't want to bore you guys, but it's very important that this image is properly interpreted in the book so people can see what I'm saying as I'm talking about it. I want people to be able to clearly see the angles represented in these images. Let's see if I can turn this light down. It seems a little bit bright. Let's try that. Just focusing on getting as much of the image in focus as possible. So I'm opening up I'm increasing the f-stop quite